Hello! It has been a while since I did my last video. May 26th, I think that was a Friday. Over 6 weeks ago. That was the last day of planting on the acreages that we have, so it was corn. And not really that much has happened over the 6 weeks. We got some rain. We got 3 inches of rain at one time and 2 inches of rain the other time. We got just over a half an inch the last couple days, which is disappointing, but what are you going to do? Hopefully get some more rain at the end of this week. However, I'm going to be doing some scouting, so I figured I'd do a video, and we're going to check out all of the areas that we planted. And I'm going to first start off with the first thing that we planted is the soybeans. So I think the first video I did was, May 9th? It's the first time we started tilling the ground. I got this 6-acre parcel right across from my place, and I wanted to get it chiseled, color packed, and planted all in one day. But I got as far as chisel or color packing it, and then May 10th I got most of it planted, and I ran out of daylight. But nevertheless, this is the field that first got planted back May 10th. Earliest we've ever had beans planted on the farm. And this 6-acre parcel is one of our fields. It's usually wet because we get a lot of moisture, like groundwater running off from the power line to my south here, and it constantly keeps this ground wet. I'm sure in dry years this is a good field because it is clay ground, and any moisture that does happen to creep into the field helps. But yeah, this is the first field that we got planted, and I'm going to turn this around. I don't think I can turn this around while I'm live. Hold on. Yeah, this is the first field that we planted, and I'm going to be honest with you. This looks, I was going to post a video a couple of weeks ago, but I never got around to it. I kind of watched it and just didn't like it. But I did a plant stand out here, and this is actually very thin. I think what happened was when I planted this with the drill, the ground conditions were a little rough, and the seed to soil contact was poor. Now I was planting 140,000 seeds per acre, which is a bag of soybeans. And what I'm measuring is almost half of that. So it's like 70,000 plants per acre. Now, some areas look pretty thin, but as I kind of walk up the center here and just kind of looking down the field, it looks okay. This is okay. It could be better. The other fields are way better. But whatever is growing is looking pretty nice. But again, the other fields that I planted like 4 days after this seem to be bigger and a better stand. Still, this is the earliest this stuff has been planted, so there are beans out here, and as long as I can get 35, 40 bushel an acre out of this field. So what's 40 times 6? 240. So if I can get over 200 bushel out of this field, I'll be okay. That's pretty much par for this field. So, but very little weeds, and I see brown and I see green, which is the beans. I planted 15-inch rows here, so even though there isn't much of a stand out here, these beans will be able to bush out and cover the ground. I don't know, hopefully within the next couple weeks. I don't think these are flowering yet. I still got to educate a little bit more on the growth stages of soybeans. But I don't know if these guys are close to flowering, which would be R1. So they're still getting there. But there are beans out here. I like how the field looks. It just looks a little thin to my liking. But again, it could have been the ground is a little rough. I think I might pay a little bit more attention to planting depth next year on beans. I was always taught to plant really shallow. You just want to cover the bean because that way you don't get crusting when the ground gets wet and dries. But when the ground is a little bit rough like this, because you got the clogs, I don't think you're going to worry too much about crusting. So we're going to pay a little bit more attention to that. But I am going to be doing a different tillage practice next year where I will have a chisel disc and a drag in one pass with the 2670. So that might actually improve the soil quality and not even use Colipackers. Because I'm also seeing when I don't Colipack, I don't get fast weeds growing. I get weeds come up slower. And I think also the fucking crop grows a little better. And you're going to see that in the next slide here. But yeah, this is the first field, May 10th. There's beans. Could be better. But will this be an average field of all the other fucking years that I've done this, which is 35 per acre? Okay, this is the few acres right across from Nicole's house that I chiseled and planted on May 12th. That was a Friday. And here, these beans look a lot taller. There's a lot more of them, a better stand. Yeah, they're like twice as big as the ones from the first field. And these look really nice. This particular field, there wasn't that many weeds that came up, and they just came up a little later. And this is a field I did not Colipack. It's a little bit streaky because of how the thing that drags behind the chisel plows, how it smooths the ground out, made the ground nice and soft. And then pretty much any valley that you see, that's just the tractor, the tractor tires and the tires on the grain drill that just kind of make like a little valley. Like for this example here is where I planted here with the grain drill, and then I came around and went on this way, and I just went a little bit too far. And this is just basically a tractor or the grain drill tire. I always try and have the grain drill tire a little bit on this. That way this row gets a little closer that way. Over here you can kind of see kind of a dip. That's where the tractor tire went through. And this row here kind of suffered a little bit because the ground was a little bit compacted and not much loose dirt to kind of cover it. So we're going to do some different things on the grain drill to help smooth the ground right after I go over it with the tractor. So it'll be the tractor tires, and then we're going to do something on the tongue of the grain drill, and then the units on the grain drill to plant. And I think I might be a tad aggressive on the planting depth. That way I get a nice seed to soil contact, but not too deep. But yeah, these beans look real nice. These are not flowering yet. Look at this guy right here. If I think my bean V value here, so is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is like a V7 soybean plant. Has not reached flowering yet. I bet you that's what this little guy right here will do. You got there, you got these guys here. That little guy right there, a flower is going to pop out, and that's when it's going to start getting into its reproductive stage. And then once it gets into that, then it's going to start making seed pods. So yeah, this is May 12th. This looks pretty good. Look at that guy. International 1460 combine. Fucking diesel engine. Fucking awesome. This thing, we're gonna pimp this guy out this year. It's a little dirty. It's a little messy. Dead batteries. A little bit of war damage. But we're gonna fucking get this guy running nice this year. Just you fucking wait. This thing is gonna be the fucking cat's meow. But yeah, hopefully if I have ambition, I will also video that progress. Okay, now we're getting to the area here where, over here, this is the May 12th chiseled only. And then over here is where we finished chiseling and then colipacked. And I planted this May 14th. So there's 2 days difference between this and over there. And these beans look good. The stand again looks okay. You could see some spots that are a little bare. But again, I think that is more on my end, not having the units go deep enough. Because again, I'm focused on just getting them in the ground and lightly covering them. This is some of our good ground here behind the house. Towards the back is a little wetter. But just over here, it just seems like it's a better stand. And again, the weeds grew slower over here. But when you colipack them, the weeds seem to come up a little faster. So that is why next year we're gonna do things a little differently and not colipack the soybeans. I don't think I'm even gonna colipack the corn. Just chisel plows with the drags behind that with one pass, and then fucking follow with the planter. Call it done. But yeah, this is May 12th, and then a few steps over here, May 14th. Again, whatever is growing, they're nice and healthy. They're tall. They have yet to get to flowering yet. But, yeah. And to be honest, when you first plant beans and they start growing after the first 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, they don't seem to grow very fast. My buddy Dan just got done spraying his beans, and he planted his beans around the same time I planted corn, which was towards the end of May. And he was sad that his beans didn't look too good. And I told him, dude, my beans look like your beans 10 days ago. Wait 10 days and they will look better, especially after you sprayed them. Weeds will die, and then what's alive will come up and will look a lot better. So this looks pretty good. Yeah, this is May 14th area. Over there is like the next day, May 15th, and we'll walk over there. Walking here all the way towards the back of the field. Beans seem a tad smaller, but I don't know. I mean, these look real nice. There's no weeds. I see nice rows of beans. Again, in a couple weeks, they're going to bush out a little bit more. Canopy over the dirt. And these seem real nice. I mean, I'm kind of happy with how these are looking. I knew I could see that. Here, hold on. kind of noticing, see how at the planter, and I plant, I come here and I stop right when the units hit this row. And then when I turn around and I start here, I always drop the units down here. But what's happening, because you'll see, you see that, and then that, and then that, and then that. Interesting how when I start moving forward, the gearing, the clutch, the thing that engages the system, I gotta go like 5 feet before the teeth kind of click in and actually start running all of the gear units. So you can see how, right here, I'm right up to that row, but here, there's like 5 to 6 feet of dirt. Now, what I could do is look into tightening some things up on the grain drill this off season, or when I stop here and I turn around, I'll actually drop my units in here. Let's see, what is that? 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 rows back. And then as I go forward, then the mechanism, they'll start dropping beans right there. So this is, I've been doing this for a long time, but I have never been into it this seriously as I have this year. More observant of shit. Learning a little bit more about plant physiology, growing stages, things of that nature. And also being a little more fucking observant of my equipment. So that is something to look forward to next year, is when I do beans with the drill, to actually start in a little farther, drop the unit, and then as I go forward, they'll start planting right around there. Even if they plant a little bit in, who fucking cares? As you kind of look down the field, I mentioned about how the grain drill tires, I try and, have the tire get close to the one row, and you can see a little bit of a wider space in between the grain drill passes. But right here, if you notice, this part of the field here, this was where I was starting to run out of beans, and the unit on the ends were running out. You can see how there's just very little beans here, and right next to the tire marks, there's a little bit wider gap on this portion of the field. Now, maybe eventually this would canopy. I doubt it, because again, it's thin in some spots, but almost miscalculated on the amount of, setting the drill. I set the drill probably a tad heavier than 1 bag per acre, but not by much, because I only got 30 bags for 30 acres. But this side of the field here, this is our May 15th side, and really isn't much of a difference. Here's a very thin strip of weeds that I missed. But this and over there is the only areas where I did that. So, pretty cool. Again, a little thin on the stand, but it should still be as good on average of what we usually get. I did add more fertility before we chisel plowed over here, so there is stuff in the ground. It's just as long as we get rain in August, that's all that matters. Rain in August. But this isn't too bad. Again, still a little thin that I like, which is all, and I planted heavier because I was short a couple bags. But again, I think the problem was seed to soil contact. I think the units need a little attention, so that when the bean falls in down the unit and gets covered, that it's going to get covered a little bit better. And again, I'm planning on going a tad deeper next year. Just a tad. Not so much to just lightly cover, but also just get it in the ground. And then the wheel behind it to actually pack down. So yeah, the grain drill is going to need attention. So right up here towards the road, this is where we started to really run out of beans, and I had Bob on the back, just kind of spread the beans out. And yeah, a little bit noticeable, but this is the only area of the field that's like that, so that's fine. It's like every year during planting season, it's like something happens where it's like it's not perfect. It's not a perfect year. Like for the beans, right here, doesn't make it perfect. Or missing a strip or two when spraying, not perfect. Every year. Same thing with the corn planter. Like the corn planter, I forget to put enough seed in one of the units and it runs out and you're missing a row all the way down the field. Shit like that. But overall, this year was a good planting season, and weather is cooperating, and so far so good. Again, for beans, August, that's when we need the rain, and typically that's usually the driest part of the season is August. So we will see. It's a gamble, but whatever. Yeah, these look nice. Abby. It's Eek the cat. Let's get Eek the cat. Eek the cat. Aw. Oh, somebody wants to be petted more. I lied. This stuff was planted here May 13th and May 14th. So the non-color pack side was May 12th, and then May 13th and May 14th was this last part of the field. All right, let's look at the corn. This is the field that I started chiseling the same day we got done planting beans. So this field got chiseled on May 14th, and we actually planted most of this in corn the next day. So this is all May 15th right here. Now, got some weeds growing here, and I already sprayed this, and that's usually typical. Not much of a residual to spray. But the corn is taller than the weeds, so it should help choke the weeds out, but I really don't want to see any weeds at all. Oh well. I mean, look at this. Look at this corn. You talk about knee high. This is July 3rd, and tops of the plants are already up to my waist here. But most of the field will average above my knee. But yeah, this is looking nice. The corn has already decided on how big to make the cob at this point. I don't know if these small weeds is that much of a competition other than the corn next to it. I don't think it is what it is, but I think when I sprayed it at V5, the plant was happy, and I think I'm going to get a nice decent ear. It's just, will the ear get filled out? Because I'm going to need late July rain to fill out when it's tasseling. Typical end rows close to trees. The tree roots get nutrients, plus it's shaded in the morning. So nothing really grows good on the end rows. Typically this field is kind of anyway. But I'm telling you, I like the way this field looks. I am pretty happy. Like right there, it's dirt. That's what I like to see. Where the corn is growing real nice, there's a little bit of weeds, so yeah. Yeah, planted May 15th. Very early, what we're used to here on the farm. But really happy with how this is looking. A little disappointed in the weeds, but I kind of have that every year. And I use a heavy rate, almost too much, but I want to try and kill that, but you know, what are you gonna do? Unless look into a different spray program for the corn. Let's see, I got options. I just I know what I know, and I just do what I know because I'm scared to change because I don't want to use the wrong thing and then kill up the entire crop. Man, this area usually is like a shit area. The corn is like real nice. Huh. But yeah, this is the first field we planted in corn, May 15th. So far, I'm pretty happy with it. But again, I'm in areas where the corn is up to my waist, but it averages above the knee, thigh high. Here is the go-kart track. This was planted around May 21st, May 22nd. It was definitely a few days after that field because I was trying to chisel plow over here. It was dry and my chisel points were dull. So I decided to get the excavator out and clean out this field, and I gained myself 2 acres and I planted Roundup Ready corn, which was a really good idea because with this field being very soddy, weeds were going to come up real fast, and the Roundup really just kills everything. So that was a good idea to put Roundup Ready corn. So, however, because this field hasn't really been farmed in over 30 years, and it's just basically a field with grass and sumac and other shit, I went over it with the chisel 3 times and got it kind of cut up and mixed really well, but it took a while for these corn to come up, and it came up real slow. There's something about ground that hasn't been farmed where like it's lacking something. I thought it would be perfect for corn because nothing has been taking anything out. You know, the grass would grow and it would die and grow and die. But yeah, this corn here is not as good looking as all the other stuff. Even the stuff that I planted on the last day looks better than over here. But hey, what are you going to do? Now, as you walk in the field here, you can actually see areas where the corn is just and then like, whoa, look at that, and like, look at that. Corn looks fantastic right there. Now, this field, I did spray that Quadris fungicide to hopefully help give this corn a boost. Now, whether it's doing it or not, I don't know, but nevertheless, the past week and a half, the corn is growing a lot better. But you get patches like this. There's a patch right there, some patches there where the corn just all of a sudden is just like better. So if I can get over 200 bushel out of this field, this will basically take care of almost all of the burnt corn stove burning season. We kept about, I think, 150 bushel in the bin, and hey, an extra 2 acres this year, so cannot complain. And then that way, this will be beans because this side of the road will all be beans, and this will be 23 acres on this side. And I think the beans will be a lot better on this field next year. Okay, so now we're going to get into this last 17 acres that we did here. And this was over a course of 4 days because of chiseling and planting right away. Because it was getting dry towards the end of May. And I did not want to just, till the whole thing, which would take a couple days after work. And then call a pack, which would take an extra day and a half, and then the fucking ground was tilled and sitting for 3 days which would give it 3 days for the day heating to dry out the ground through capillary attraction. So I wanted to just chisel and plant that day, so that way the seed was in some sort of moisture during during the couple days, so that it would activate the germ in the seed and it would start to grow. So this area here was done on the 23rd, and I gotta tell you, this looks real nice. Now the weed control is a lot better because when I sprayed everything all at once. So this stuff was about 8 days sooner than the field way back there. And I think the weeds way back there were just a couple days farther along. So even though it did a good job killing what it did, but I think some of the taller stuff, it still grew. So again, timing is very important when spraying. But this looks real nice. I mean, there is no weeds at all. This just looks real nice and sexy. Just down, this looks nice. This looks nice. I'm really happy with how this looks. Really happy. I also sprayed that Quadris fungicide on pretty much this and all the way down towards the east side, which is about 9 acres worth. I did not spray the first 12 rows along the woods because why? That shit doesn't really grow very well. But yeah, this is May 23rd. This just looks real nice. Again, you see areas where it's like smaller and bigger, but overall it just looks real nice. Again, here close to the end row here where there's all kinds of other shit, the first 4 rows are kind of eh. But yeah, going in, this looks real nice. I want to go to the end row. I want to say something. So on the end rows here, closest to the trees, the first 8 rows that I planted, I slowed the rate down to 24,000 seeds per acre. What I have here mostly in the field is 32,000 seeds per acre, but here on the end rows, they don't grow very well because animals fucking devour it, and there's also more competition with the trees. So why plant more fucking seed and waste seed if it's not going to grow good? So basically you plant less and kind of spread it out. That way the plant has a little bit better chance by itself to do something. And I gotta say, I mean, even these end row corn doesn't look bad at all. I mean, I purposely on this part of the field stayed a good 10 feet from the trees. Like you can see right there, I stayed away. I mean, the corn looks pretty good. But yeah, this was, this here, I just planted it a little bit thinner. And then over here is where I went 32,000. You almost can't really tell. From 6 inches apart to like 6.6 inches apart. But, or is it 7 inches? I mean, it's almost a third less. So maybe 9. Whatever. Plant less, we don't lose as much. Okay, so over here is around May 24th, which basically was only a few rows that day because I was still fucking around chisel plowing and color packing. I didn't really get much done. But because the next day I wanted to concentrate on doing twin rows. But what's interesting here on this particular field, like this just looks so nice. You know, it's waist high, even though it's planted almost 10 days later than the stuff over there. But then, like right here, this shit looks real small. Right there looks a little bit better. And that just looks, if you just look straight down the field, it just like streaks. Almost like how the ground got tilled made a difference of how the corn grew. Now again, this was planted, it was a little bit dry. It didn't get much rain until like maybe a week later. But if you just look down the field, you could just see areas of like, looks nice, it looks looks nice, but it's streaky. And it's streaky in the direction where I chisel plowed. It is very interesting. And again, I wasn't going as deep as I would like to, because in some areas I went over it twice, which I thought made it go deep enough. But very interesting. But over here on the May 25th side is where I started to do twin rows. And you can see the twin rows here. And again, on this end of the field looks but when you walk down the field, it just looks better. And I think there's more better corn than there is corn like this. And to be honest, historically, on this side of the field, in this area, has always done poorly. As my brother would say, you gotta do soil tests so you know for sure. Yeah. I'm chalking it up as a very, very low pH. I think the pH level over here is too low. I think there's too much of like maybe a magnesium. There's too much of something and not enough of something else. But duh, right? But we don't know until you test it. Last but not least, the far west side of this field, which was the last planted on May 26th. This doesn't look any different than the other stuff. But I'll tell you, yeah, again, like look right there. There's that corn looks real nice, but let me stop again. Okay. Really weird. Any improvements in the field is done in this direction. There isn't anything where, like, there's a patch here. It just seems like any patches that are better or worse, they're in a line in the direction where we tilled and planted. And you fucking look at this. I planted all this in one day. This is the twin row area, okay? And I planted this at 38,000. And look at these 4 rows here compared to these 4 rows here. It's a fucking night and day difference between the two. Now, check this out. This 4, maybe 5 rows look good. And then there's like this area here that looks right? And then look at this. And I want to say there was some areas here where I chisel plowed twice, where I wasn't happy how deep it was going. So I just fucking turned around and went back down and went back up, because traditionally in this little area here would get hard when it gets dry. I remember years ago when we would dig potatoes in this field. This area of the field would be really hard for the potato harvester to dig in and get into the dirt to do the potatoes. Also, we would get like these hard fucking dirt clogs because the ground is so hard. So I really wanted to make sure in this area that I got the chisels deep. And I don't know, did I go twice here and not there? Is that what this is going on here? It's just so different. I mean, look at that. That looks real nice, and then that looks And this was all planted on the same day. Let me think and not be videotaping. So that fungicide that I sprayed last week, I was able to get all the twin rows in. So my fungicide actually stopped over here. I want to say it did spray all the way up to there. And I don't know. I don't really see a difference. What's today? Monday? I guess it was 5 days ago. But I don't really see a difference here to there. But just damn, you look out there, that just seems more greener than over here. But again, that was like 2 days more than that over there. I don't know. Here's the conclusion, though. I am really happy with how this corn looks. I'm really happy with how there's no weeds in the field here. I think this is so far our best looking corn. It's too early to tell, but we're getting some rain. The plants are happy. I want to be getting 18 row cobs. That's the goal. And yeah, I'm blanking, but very happy so far. So far, so good. So far, so good. I think that's it for this video. A lot of talking. I'll probably watch this back and be like, yeah, this is stupid. But I really should post something. I didn't want to post any spray because there's no need. No need to show you that. And once I'm done spraying, I mean, it's just growing. But we are also going to be prepping shit. We're going to be prepping the combine. We're going to get the combine fucking tip-top magoo. It's got some unloading issues. Very, very bad. It technically will not unload because it had a catastrophic breakage on our last 150 bushel we were unloading. But we're going to start working on it in the summer. That way it gets done. We're also going to be adding some cool shit to the combine. We're also going to do other shit to the combine. I want the brakes fixed so I can fucking drive the thing with the tires and the brakes. We're going to get it cleaned out a little bit. Get it a little spit shine. That's just a combine. There's all kinds of other stuff we need to do. We need to get the discs fixed. The discs need repaired. New blades. New bearings. Get that fucking going. Then maybe get some wagons sort of spit shined. The grain truck. Do something with the bed so that we have a place to put at least 330 bushel of something. Grain drill. Want to look at all of the units so that thing is tip-top magoo, so that thing will plant beans nice and consistent. Corn planter was pretty good. I do want to put on new packing wheels. That might be an option. But, yeah, combine for sure. Also, the chisel plows. We want to make sure those... I put the 2 shanks that I took off. Put them on. We're going to add some weight to that so that sinks in a lot easier. Then we're going to have those drags behind it so that does a better job doing the soil. Also, on the grain drill, do something on the tongue. When the tire tracks go over the soft dirt. We got all kinds of things we need to be doing. And it's going to be fucking cool. It's going to be fucking super cool. Yeah, very exciting year. This is the first year that we're on the ball. This is the first year that we actually care. We always cared every year, but a little bit different. But I'm going to say thanks to Dan. I'm also going to say shout out to the BVF. Watching their videos. Getting a little info, getting a little entertainment. So, yeah, getting shit done. Fucking A. Fuck. AC feels nice. Alright. That's it. This is probably boring. But it is something. It's been over 6 weeks, so took you on a fucking tour around the farm. I probably walked almost 2 miles, so that's cool. And now you see how the crops are growing. The crops look nice. I'm really happy with how they look so far. But August rain. August rain. All right. Bye.